October in the Bono region under the second phase of the vaccine rollout. About 7.3 million doses of Moderna and Pfizer vaccines are currently being deployed to other parts of the country to be administered in a few weeks across the country. This phase of the COVID-19 vaccine rollout is for the general public. The program's manager for the expanded immunization, Dr. Kwame Aponsa-Chianu, is advising the general public to take advantage of the exercise and get vaccinated, assuring that the vaccines have been approved by the Food and Drugs Authority and are safe and efficient. The rollout of COVID-19 vaccines started in phases and segmented among the population in March 2021. The initial phase, which targeted persons who are at a higher risk, has been completed. Currently, over 2 million Ghanaians have received at least one dose of COVID-19 vaccines. To ensure herd immunity, the service has to date distributed over 4 million vaccines to all regions in the country. The Ghana Health Service says all must be vaccinated, as a possible fourth wave can only be slowed down through vaccination and adhering to all other safety protocols.
The earliest the regions are starting is on the 26th of October, and this basically is Bono. We are starting first, and then Eastern region as well. The rest, most of them are starting from the 1st of November, but by middle of November, all regions would have started.
The program's manager for the expanded program on immunization, Dr. Kwame Aponsa-Chianu, said 2.2 million Ghanaians have received at least one dose of the COVID-19 vaccines, and a little over 800,000 have received 2 doses. He said Ghana is far off from the 10% WHO target. Dr. Chianu said though there is some form of hesitancy with the vaccine, it is still the only way to save lives.
For us, we really encourage people to go for the vaccines, because if we have to come out of this predicament, the vaccines will play more than 90% of the role. For now, it's about us consuming the vaccines. Initially, people were asking where the vaccines are. Now we have the vaccines, so we are asking where the people are now. We have 3.4 million doses that we've just distributed. And then, of course, we are also expecting 6.3 million doses in the next 2 weeks. So you can see that compared to previously, the vaccine landscape has very much improved.
The Ghana Health Service has therefore expanded the vaccine to the general public to achieve herd immunity and reduce the burden of the disease. In the next 3 weeks, all regions will have Moderna and Pfizer vaccines to be administered. All aged 18 and above, including nursing mothers, are eligible for the second phase of the vaccine rollout, which starts next week. Dr. Chianu says all the 5 vaccines that have been approved by the Food and Drugs Authority are safe and efficient for use, adding Ghana has one of the most effective programs to ensure the safety of all Ghanaians to achieve herd immunity. The presiding bishop of the Methodist Church Ghana, Most Reverend Dr. Paul Boafo, has urged Ghanaians to get vaccinated against COVID-19. This is said is vital to ensuring that Ghana achieves herd immunity by the end of the year and quickly recovers from the devastating effects of the coronavirus pandemic. Most Reverend Dr. Boafo was speaking at the induction service for the new Methodist Bishop of Obuasi Diocese, Right Reverend Bafo Asamoah, at the Wesley Methodist Cathedral at Obuasi in the Ashanti region. Right Reverend Bafo Asamoah was born on 10th November 1963 at Bipwa in the Ashanti region. He had his formal education at Bipwa United Basic School and at Trinsria Secondary School, and then to the University of Cape Coast for his first degree in 1987. His ministerial training was at the Trinity Theological Seminary, and he pursued a master's degree program at the University of Ghana. Until his election as the 5th Methodist Bishop of Obuasi, he was the Obuasi Diocesan Synod Secretary. At the induction service, a former presiding bishop of the church, Most Reverend Dr. Robert Abuaji-Mensah, urged the new bishop to be humble and always seek God's directions to ensure a successful tenure.
say a mouse to me dear Eswa. One hay a now real she said, a yardum. Ne son say a ya adumuntino. And my prayer was see you, young people.
The presiding bishop of the Methodist Church Ghana, Most Reverend Dr. Paul Boafo, encouraged the citizenry to get vaccinated as achieving herd immunity is vital to Ghana's quick recovery from the pandemic. A flag-raising ceremony has taken place in Accra to mark the 76th anniversary of the United Nations. Member states were reminded of the Charter on Centralized Multilateralism and the principles of the organization. The UN Resident Coordinator, Mr. Charles Abani, urged members to strive towards recovery from the impact of COVID-19.
With the ratification of its founding charter by a majority of signatories, including the 5 permanent members of the Security Council, the United Nations was instituted on the 24th October 1945. Aimed at working towards a global peace and equality in building a more peaceful, prosperous and a just world, the UN is poised to strengthen the values of the 5 founding principles. These include ending poverty and hunger, protecting the planet from degradation, fostering peaceful societies, and mobilizing the means to achieve a revitalized global partnership to ensure all humans have a fulfilling life. At a flag-raising ceremony to mark the 76th anniversary of the United Nations, member states were encouraged to be hopeful, even in the midst of challenges.
At the dawn of 2020 in many countries, including Ghana, as we were making bold strides towards this dream, captured in the Sustainable Development Goals, COVID-19 struck and has really dealt a devastating blow on every facet of our lives. The pandemic has derailed the gains of several areas across the board, and this really calls for a redoubling of efforts towards the decade of action.
The Deputy Minister for Foreign Affairs and Regional Integration, Mr. Kweku Apintum Sapong, said Ghana will continue to cooperate with members of the United Nations Security Council to restore stability, peace and security in the sub-region.
As chair of ECOWAS, Ghana will bring to bear the work of the Security Council, her knowledge of the region and close involvement in regional conflict mediation, prevention and post-conflict reconstruction initiatives.
The day was marked under the theme, United Nations and Ghana, working together for a sustainable and inclusive society toward recovery in a post-COVID-19 era.
A project to incorporate the use of digital tools for improved healthcare delivery has been launched in Accra. The Digital Solutions for Health, Nutrition and Medical Services also aims to expand access to healthcare.
The 3-year project, which is a collaboration between the UNDP, Government of Japan and Ghana, will scale up nationwide deployment of e-trackers programs, utilize health data, including artificial intelligence, strengthen health promotion, early detection and diagnosis of non-communicable diseases and management of human resources.
This project helps us to really identify the information that we need. Currently, of the top 10 diseases in Ghana, 4 of them are non-communicable diseases related, and so it becomes a major challenge. This helps us at all levels to be able to elicit the necessary information through digitization and also improve our ability to respond and manage cases.
The project is to accelerate the country's efforts in achieving universal health coverage.
With digital health, you can deploy digital tools to enable people to access information about diseases, the latest information about how to prevent, and also how to and where to access services. So these are some of the tools that are being deployed. I know that the government has already supported just funding it and making sure that more people have access to these tools.
This forms part of a 2019 Memorandum of Cooperation under Japan's Africa Health and Wellbeing Initiative.
It's now time for our Citizen Journalist series. 1,706 people have reportedly died through road accidents between January and July 2021, according to the Motor Traffic and Transport Department of the Ghana Police Service. Human factors including drink driving, fatigue, driving, speeding, wrongful overtaking, failure of drivers to check the conditions of their vehicles, and disregard for road signs and markings are some factors that lead to motor crashes. As Christmas approaches, our Citizen Journalist for today, who is a commercial driver and a member of the Adansi Drivers Group, is urging all drivers to ensure an accident-free Yuletide. He goes by the name Jide Anamon and shares some safety tips.
Road safety has always been and will remain a top priority of the road transport industry. It is essential to the well-being of people and communities and vital for economic growth and prosperity. Every accident is one too many. As such, no country can be complacent on road safety. Our Citizen Journalist, who simply calls himself Jide Anamon, says the odds of surviving a crash shift massively in your favor if you first buckle up before you get on the road.
Safety is our first value. Yamwa yankwa humba ni yamwa said we are free 2021. Yebeti mi ate akwensia so na kakra me kan say edi antikwan yet na kama say boy seat belt. Wo hye seat belt a eboama se bibini a sebi o driver ni no untimi enya effect sa intimi sremi nuanum driver for say ya bo akwensia oban na ya bo yankwa oban ne de na ko say enema wose ye ne de bo ne ati akwensia so no esa say ye edi antikwan wose ye check ye tie enipa waka ni mu doso nti se wo be fa ka no de akwaduma o se wo dwuni nipa nkwa ho enu nti o se wo check o tie bibia na otumu say yes bibia ye settle na wetimi akwaduma de me kan say afiwe 2021 akwensia po on po ye teso.
Even though wearing a seatbelt is considered by many as a choice, Jide Anamon reminds all that a seatbelt is your lifeline. Buckle up to arrive alive at your destination.
The Koforidua Anglican Diocese in the Eastern region has climaxed its anniversary with a Thanksgiving service. The first diocesan bishop of the diocese, Most Reverend Right Dr. Robert Okain, said the LGBTQI+ is an issue of morality and not human rights as considered by some activists. He added that morality cannot be legislated since there is an existing law against prostitution.
The Anglican Diocese of Koforidua before October 1981 was Archdeaconry of Koforidua. The diocese has 31 parishes and 7,438 memberships. The diocese is currently initiating income-generating projects and revamping its oil palm plantation at Kwabeng to increase yields. The first diocesan bishop of the Koforidua Anglican Diocese, Most Reverend Retired Dr. Robert Okain, advised Christians to lead exemplary life worthy of emulation.
Christians need to intensify our teaching based on the principles and examples of Christ and to lead exemplary lives worthy of emulation.
The Eastern Regional Minister, Mr. Seth Kwame Champong, commended the Anglican Church for development projects such as schools, hospitals and farms to support the government's Ghana Beyond Aid agenda. Certificates of honor were awarded to priests and members who have contributed to the growth of the diocese.
The Islamic final funeral rites known as Adua for the late Hajia Mariama Baumia has been performed at Beriga in the West Mamprushi municipality of the Northeast region. The late Hajia Baumia, who was affectionately called Mami, was the mother of Vice President Al-Haji Muhammadu Baumia. She died on 13th September 2021 in Accra, aged 81, and was buried on Tuesday, September 14 at Wale Wale in accordance with Islamic customs. The children in a tribute said their late mother encouraged them to take education seriously. President Akufo-Addo, in the company of the First Lady Mrs. Rebecca Akufo-Addo, described the late Hajia Baumia as a woman of unfailing courtesy who welcomed friends of her son to her home. The National Chief Imam, Sheikh Osman Nur Sharabutu, who led Islamic prayers, reminded the gathering that death is no respecter of persons. He called on all to reflect on their lives and prayed for the peaceful repose of the soul of the late Hajia Mariama Baumia. Sheikh Sharabutu expressed gratitude to Allah for the peaceful coexistence among people of different faiths, which is critical for national unity. Members of the Holy Apostolic Reformed Church of Ghana have joined calls to push for the passage of the bill against LGBTQI in the country. They made the call at a memorial service in Accra in honor of the General Secretary of the Church, Apostle Jacob Kony Okpoti, who died 10 years ago. The Holy Apostolic Reformed Church was founded by Apostle Jacob Kony Okpoti on March 3, 1983. From a small beginning, the church currently has 57 branches across the country. The founder died 10 years ago at age 78, and the memorial service was to climax activities to celebrate a decade of his passing. The General Secretary of the church, Bishop Dr. Thomas Okpoti, a son of the founder, eulogized his father and thanked members for celebrating his father. He charged elders of the church to give the youth opportunities to manage the affairs of the church. Speaking on the theme, Long Enough on This Mountain, from the book of Deuteronomy 1 verse 6 to 8, the General Secretary advised members of the church to embrace change and not to dwell on the past, but be positive and strive for success. We now recap some of the past week's headlines and pictures. You're watching News coming to you live on GBC News and GTV. We're taking a short break. Please don't go away.